weird. Like the win ratio is like weird, but it's like, it's not that weird if you break it down.
Hello everyone, that's Sasaki here, and today we are for a podcast, and I have on my side Lucas Marin, our manager Black Arrow. How's it going, man?
Good. Thank you for the possibility to be here. Very happy to have David. Tell everybody about David.
So, guys, today we have very special guest here. His CV is so huge, so important. I gotta have a clue here. So he started his career as an architect from University of Florida and also UCLA. And after a major health challenge, he transitioned to be a trader, especially on the pandemics. And since then, he's became a verified seven-figure trader, known for his high win rate and structured approach to short selling, and also author of the book, The Short Selling Master. So, welcome, Dave. Good to see you here with us, man.
Yeah, no, it's an honor to be here in the Black Arrow offices in Porto Alegre. I'm in the south of Brazil, which is crazy. You know, I've been to Rio, Sao Paulo, and now I got a good reason to go explore the south of Brazil, Porto Alegre, where they have the best steaks. They have the best steaks here, man. So like we ate some good steaks, and the past 2 days I've been eating a lot of steaks. Okay, so yeah, no, it's been great, man. And you guys have an impressive office, man. Like, good job over here. You guys are doing really good. And I'm happy to see everything. You know, it's great. So thanks for having me.
Okay, so today we're gonna have a very good conversation about trading, your life, how you became a trader. Actually, I'm very curious to know about that. I didn't know about this story. And steaks, maybe? And
yeah,
we'll get topic for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And equities, I guess. So it's gonna be a very good conversation, guys.
Yeah.
And I think to start with, so basic question, but how did you actually start into trading? Like, when did you start?
Yes. Okay. So I was in graduate school for my master's degree in architecture at UCLA, and I had just come out of a brain surgery recovery. So it took me like 2 years to recover from a brain operation, and in the middle of like my education.
So you started university, and in the middle of your studies, you had to stop because of your surgery.
Yeah. So I did 4 years of architecture education for undergraduate, which is my bachelor's degree in Florida, and then I went to get my master's degree, which is a 3.5-year degree at UCLA in Los Angeles. And that actually got, like, I did almost 5 or 6 years of school for my grad school. So in the United States, you got to take out a lot of student loans. And then on top of that, there's also medical debt. Like the hospitals, medical costs a lot of money, and school costs a lot of money. So I got myself in a lot of debt. And when you're going through what I went through, like for a brain operation, you don't care about the debt. You just want to survive. You just want to recover. I just want to listen to what the doctor says. I don't care about debt. I'm here fighting for my life. You know what I mean? So who cares? So it's not my fault. Like, it's just health that happens to people. So I got myself in a lot of student debt, also because in order for me to get medical insurance, I had to be in classes. So I had to, my school got postponed long. What happens? More debt. So I got myself in more than 6 figures of debt. A couple 6 figures, I'll say. And I had, when I finished school, when I graduated with the master's, I had to be I worked for 6 months in architecture, and it didn't make any sense. I had 3 more years to get licensed as an architect, and then I also had the bills started to come in. After 6 months, you have to start paying the bills. And working as a junior architect is $26 at the time. It's $26.50 an hour. So that's not that much. It's not that much when it's $26.50 an hour and you have multiple 6 figures of debt. It's like you'll never pay it off. You'll just never pay it off. And then 3 years when I get licensed, I still won't pay it off. So $26.50 an hour, and then 3 years later when I get licensed, it's like $70,000 a year. It's not like, it's good, but it's not good if you're thinking about all the debt you got to pay. So it's like a never-ending game. And most people do this in the U.S. They play this game where they live paycheck to paycheck, and then they get a car, let's say a BMW, and they're in more debt. They have their student loans debt, and then also credit card debt. And also they want to compete with their neighbors. The neighbor has a BMW, they got to get a BMW to get more debt. And then they just work and never pay anything off. And it's like they never get to travel, they never get to do anything. They're enslaved to the debt. So I noticed this, when I was working. I only worked for 6 months in architecture, and I noticed this. And being in so much debt, it woke me up. It was like, how do I want to live my life? It was like, I just survived a brain operation, and I was like, near-death experience. And the doctor, when I was recovering, he told me he gave me 50 years more of life. He said 50. And, it's not like a exact 50 if I take care of myself a bit more. But he said, I just gave you 50 more years of life. And at the time, I was 25 years old. So I was like, okay, 25 times 2, that's 50. So that means I just lived 25. So I get to live 2 more times in my life. I lived 1, I get 2 more. He gave me 2 more times. And I was like, so when you go through something so crazy, it wakes you up. It's like people, older people, 30, 40, 50 years old, 60, most people don't change who they are. They're stuck in their ways. You know what I mean? It takes a trauma for them to change. Older people, my parents are stubborn. They're stubborn. I was stubborn. But, it's like something happened to me now. It's like before the brain operation, David before and David after. It's like, it's 2 different people. So then when the student debt came in, that changed me again. So it was like, this was like a traumatic few years where I had to like decide what I'm going to do with my life and like how I want to live, like with the 50 years remaining I have, more or less. I think I'm going to live to 100 years old. But so then I started to look at real estate. I thought, I didn't know any better. I was like, real estate's got to be better. I think, you know, there's rich real estate people. I was like, real estate is kind of like architecture. Let me see. And I did that for like, I don't know, less than a month. I looked at the classes and I was like, this is boring. I don't know how I'm going to do this. So then, but as I was doing that, I started to pay attention to other high income skills. That's the thing. So you go, like I was looking at real estate, and then when I was looking at real estate, the people that were like pumping it, you know, on the online pumping real estate classes or whatever, they would say, oh, you need a high income skill. You need a high income skill, sales, whatever. And I was like, well, I need a high income skill. Architecture's not a high income skill. Architecture's a career, and it's a nice career, but like, it's not, for me right now, it's nothing. I need to find something else. So then I was like, oh, I need a high income skill. And I started to look online, and finally, you know, stock trading showed up, and, you know, and I started to look into it, and I said, okay, this could be real. And then I was like, okay, so if I treat it like architecture school, like serious, I think I can do this. And that's what I did. So to make trading work for people, especially if you're coming in from another career, you got to use whatever strength you have from your previous, you know, like from your life. And my strength, I spent 10 years in architecture. I was like, I need to, the work ethic I have, the planning, the projects, you know, like the working late at night to do like a mad scientist, figure it out. That's how I need to do trading. And I knew that a lot of people didn't succeed with trading. And I was like, oh, it's because they're chasing the Lamborghini, they're chasing this. And it was very clear to me. It's like, okay, I think Jack Schwager in The Market Wizard says it in his book. I read it later, but I knew it in the beginning. I was like, wait a second. So I went to school for 10 years to learn a skill, and I knew I'm not going to get rich. So I knew it takes a long time to develop a real skill. The same thing as a doctor, a lawyer. So why would trading, people want to join in 2 weeks, they want to start making money more than a doctor, more than a lawyer. It doesn't make any sense. So for me, I never was, you know, distracted by that, but I just wanted, the only goal I had was like, I just need a skill to replace the 10 years I just spent learning architecture. I need something that's going to be better than that. And you know, I'm actually, I don't regret anything, you know, like in architecture or whatever. So like, if I didn't have all that debt, if I didn't have to spend 10 years in a career, you know, it wouldn't, like I needed a big goal. Like for example, I was in so much debt. Like my goal since the day I started trading, I was like, I need to be able to make at least a few $1 million doing something. I wasn't trying to make $1 million, but I was like, I need something that at least I have a chance. Because if I have multiple 6 figures of student debt, I need to get myself out of it. You know, so I see now these days, a lot of traders trying to make $100 a year. Like I know one trader, he's been making, I'm not gonna say any names or whatever, but like I've known him for like 6 years. He's making $100 a day for 6 years. And I'm like, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, like I joined trading, it was not to make $100 a day. Like I knew I was gonna have to do something really big. I need to go for like mastery, like to make at least 6 figures a year, because like my architectures, you could make 6 figures a year. I was like, I need to do something that's more of a chance than architecture. So I was like, with trading, if you treat it seriously, like you read all the books of the Market Wizards, all this, they you know, that's what I was going for. I was going for like my full potential. It's like an athlete, you know, not getting you know, comfortable in like a low level, you know, like you're going for. We spoke about that, the football player yesterday. He got comfortable with the money they gave him. He got comfortable. The football player. I don't want to mention his name, but and then you know, it's like I didn't want to be that guy. I wanted to like reach my full potential, and I didn't know where trading would take me. But you know, the journey of like mastery, of excellence, like that. You want to master something, you have respect, and you want to do like a doctor or a lawyer, like treat it with respect to be the master of your craft. You have a lot of opportunities to trade. Like I wrote a book, I got signed by a big major publisher. The podcast, I've met really crazy. I used to read about these people, and now like I'm friends with them. You know, so trading, like you got to grow really fast, and you know, travel around the world. You know, it's like it's a lot of opportunity if you do it right.
So when you started seeing all of these trading, probably mentors, are we speaking about before the subprime, or where are we in this timeline?
2015.
2015 already?
Yeah.
Okay.
So 2015, I was getting ready to graduate. I walked into graduation. So in California, they put the flowers on your like Hawaii kind of thing. Yeah. I walk in and I don't know what I'm gonna do. Actually, that time, I don't know if I told this story like on a podcast before, but there was, in fact, I don't know, his name is Kenji. He's actually Japanese American. He actually showed me at UCLA the marijuana stocks. And he's like, look at this, man, I made $1,000. He told me, this is so.
Oh, that's how you got into equities first.
Yeah, Kenji,
first. Okay.
Kenji told me. So Kenji, and he told me he put his rent money to the stock and he made $1,000. And I was like, wow, that's awesome, man. How do you do that? Like, can you do it again? I'm gonna give you my rent money and you can do it for me.
When was it?
This is 2015.
Yeah.
This is how I used to think. I say, wait a second, you do that again. You got it. Like, come on, do it. And he looked at me because he's a really honest guy. This guy's like a really nice guy. He's like, man, I don't know. I don't think I could do that again, man. I was like, come on, just do it. You know how to do it. Just do it.
It's funny you mention that. Like, I started in US trading in 2018, but it was exactly on the green rush, on the marijuana. It was like 2019 was the top, and everything collapsed after the pandemic. But it's insane. And just for you guys that are listening, like me and David were friends for 5 years almost, and we're trading buddies for a long time. And yeah, and what you're like, the word that probably summarizes everything you're saying. It's commitment. Like everything that you've done for the last years, it's you commit, you're there, and you're waking up 4 a.m. to trade, and you go to sleep at, I don't know, 10 p.m. And it's pretty much something that if you set up the goal, you gotta go after it. It's not like, and you're gonna see a lot of barriers through the way, and you just gotta keep going, you know. And I know your story very well, and I mean, it's very nice that everybody who's here listening and you understand that trading, it's not for everybody, but it's doable for who's there and who's focused you, right? You gotta be, as our mentor says, you gotta be in the game, right? So you gotta be focused studying and like using our background. Like now we're touching like the architecture. Like how, I know you talk this a lot in your podcast, but how do you see your architecture background as a differentiation for trading, and even like when you look for graphs, like we have here Black Arrow as a platform, like what do you see as a, like what do you look for in a platform, considering your background, like not only execution, but everything that comes with it?
Yeah, you know, the way I trade specifically, it's like very unique. You know, I don't know anyone that does the way I do it. And that's why like, it's weird. Like the win ratio is like weird, but it's like, it's not that weird if you break it down and you start to understand it. It's weird at first glance. It's like, what is like, what? You know, but like, Business Insider reached out to me and they were like skeptical of that. In fact, I don't even tell people my win ratio anymore. I just, but when it comes up, they're like, they're like, what is that? It's so weird. So on Business Insider, they looked at everything, and then all my statements, all my tax records, everything, and then they, what do you call it? Then they spent 1 week speaking to me about strategies during the day, like 2 hours a day. Then they understand it. So when you break it down, it's like when you know, people, they fear what they don't understand. You know, so like when you start to understand it, it starts to make it like, oh, okay, it's actually, that makes a lot of sense. So I'm really, really highly selective. I'm only trading a certain category of stocks. They're borderline scams, frauds, and I'm looking for dilution. I'm looking at fundamentals. Which means like I'm looking at like the product, the people behind it. I'm looking at, and then on top of that, I'm looking at the charts. Because fundamentals, especially with the small cap stocks, these are very small companies. The supply of these stocks is too low. Just yesterday, I tried trading something. Now I'm getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It starts to be a problem with some stocks. Like there was a stock yesterday I was trading, $150,000 position. It was hard to get out of it. I have to be like really careful getting out. I'm going to squeeze the stock. So like, you know, so like the supply of these stocks is too low. So a lot of the supply, you know, like the fundamentals don't make any sense. It doesn't matter. But it's good to know you can have that in your tool belts. It's like an extra thing to like, it counts a lot. You can't just be technicals, because you know, so my advantage is like I know the fundamentals and the technicals. But like the technicals I know very well, because like they're a big part of my edge, because a lot of times the fundamentals makes no sense. So like when I see what Lucas asked, I see a chart and I see the company name. You know, I want to know the fundamentals. I want to know the short interest. I want to know the institutional. I want to know what sector. What CYCN? What sector is this in?
I think it's a biotech.
It's a biotech. So biotechs, I think you probably know, because you know the way I trade. Like I'm looking for entries over the dilution prices. And then on top of that, once it's over the dilution prices, I want to know the first 5-minute candle after a big parabolic move. That's where I'm looking for that confirmation. And then I'm looking for the anchored VWAP. Usually it's like another layer of VWAP, another line. Usually those spikes that you see right there, those two big ones where they tested the highs, that's usually where the tip of the anchored VWAP is. And then when I'm seeing that, I'm seeing like, there's probably with short sellers in this, and they're all stopping out near the same area, you know, which means that that's what that double top is. But I don't go by any double top. But when you see that, I was like, oh, so short sellers started to cover, and then it didn't reach the highs. So that's pretty bearish. It's usually, you know, it fails to break the highs. So I'm thinking like in 3D all the time. The people, the story, the company, the sector, what the world is doing with that sector. Like right now, space, we're talking about space. Space is moving because SpaceX is about to IPO and they're about to send astronauts to the moon again. So like I want to know that. I want to know the supply, the float of the company, the amount of shares, and can they get new shares? Does this company have a history of raising money and dumping shares? And then when I look at the chart, I see the story of like how the people are trading. So it's like, it's a 3D view. And most traders, they fail to do that. You know, they just look at the intraday chart. Like, I want to see this one. I think Lucas and I were talking about it. It's a multi-day one, right? Yeah. So if it's a multi-day one, is it a liquidity trap? Is it like borrow fee rates are going higher and getting the short side? Like, so I want to know like full picture. And you know, now I can do it quickly. I can do all this analysis in my head like in a minute. But like, it took me many years to get it like that. And you know, I didn't learn trading at 18 years old, because like the professionals on Wall Street, they learn it at 18, and by the time they're 28, they're like this. I learned it at 32, and now I'm about to be 42. So, but it's still the same thing. And you know, it's just you need to survive. Like Lucas was saying, if you survive, Dr. Steenbarger says you should survive your learning curve. So that's the goal, because like the more you stare at the charts, the more you have a conversation with your friends, the traders, the more you study, you can develop these skills, and it should be eventually become second nature.
The screen time.
The screen time, yeah.
The more you have, the more you get naturally get good at it.
Yeah.
I asked something that I asked Lucas already 2 times. Why did you actually get into short selling? So like right now it's easy to answer because you got some pretty good results, obviously. But during this time where you have to survive the first year,
Yeah.
because it's not easy at all.
Good question.
Is it because you believed it would be more accurate to be short seller, or because the fundamentals make more sense for you? Because I know some people are buying where you're selling, so there's someone with the opposite opinion on the stock, which is crazy. But why did you actually spend all of these years improving springtime technical for short selling? Was there a reason that you believe that would be the best way to trade, or it was just like, well, let's try this one and see what happens?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So, okay. And this is one of the most important decisions that led to my success. So like when you decide and you make the correct decision, it's like an investment. If you pick Amazon and you held it for 20 years, it's a huge win. But if you get Amazon in 1999, you sell it in 2001 and you start messing around. But like, if you pick one, you feel so strongly about it and you hold on to it, you do very well. So for me, in the beginning, I was like, stock market is very overwhelming. Once short selling came to my attention, it was very easy for me to understand the pattern. So when I started, I was financially illiterate. It's like a person that can't read, but for trading. Like I couldn't, like you put this in front of me, like what? I had no clue.
And a lot of people that are watching right now must be like this right now.
Yeah,
they don't know what's going on. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do.
So if you open your mind and you learn, you can pick it up. It's like a language. Like I've been going to Argentina now many times. I'm fluent in Spanish. I can present in Spanish now because I really wanted to learn. I was trying. The same thing with Portuguese. If I stay here and I really want to learn Portuguese, I'll pick it up. You know, so like but I gotta put an effort. I gotta open my mind. You know, so like I gotta read the menus in Portuguese and ask my friends to correct me. It takes work. So when I was learning, I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything, zero. Like when I looked at the chart, I would think that's like an architecture drawing. I was like, what is it, like a house? You know, like serious. I didn't know. I didn't know. So when it was brought to my attention that there's like pump and dumpers, also the Wolf of Wall Street, the movie, it came out, and I was, if you don't know anything about trading, you watch Wolf of Wall Street, it's entertaining, but you really don't know what's happening. You know, you're like, what is going on? So I wanted to know what the movie, like what it was. I even ordered the book, Wolf of Wall Street, and I couldn't understand it. And then after going on Google and learned, like I figured it out. It's like, oh, so he was pumping and dumping stocks. And OTC, that's over-the-counter stocks. That's under the NASDAQ, but below the NASDAQ. And I was like, oh, so pump and dump. What does that look like in the chart? So then I was like, the chart goes up and the chart goes down like a mountain. And I was like, oh, that's an easy pattern. And I wasn't sophisticated like now. So I was just like, give me something easy to understand. And I was like, oh, up, down, law of gravity, Newton, what goes up must come down. And I was like, oh, so you build a company for many years and one negative catalyst can tear it all down. I was like, you take the stairs up, elevator down. So I started to understand. It's like, oh, okay, so, and I was like, wow, so there's a lot of frauds on the NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange, whatever, like the Wolf of Wall Street. And I was like, I don't like that. That's not cool. I went to school for 10 years and I'm broke as hell. And this guy is on doing fraud and he's making millions on the yacht and like, you're going crazy. I was like, I don't like that. So I was like, it drove me. I used to read like the research reports on fraud companies. I was like, yeah, I used to wonder about, there's a company called, they stopped doing reports now, but they're called Hindenburg Research. And I was like, how do you become one of Hindenburg? I wish I could do that. And I was interested in investigating the company. So, and like, I didn't do that. I learned trading, but like, it drove me. I had like a purpose to stay up at night and figure it out. I was like, I gotta figure out the fraud, the puzzle. So then I was like, oh, short selling. So short selling, you make money on the way down. I was like, oh, and nobody really knows too much about it. So it was obvious to me, okay, if no one's doing it, it's like, it's like the secret trick. They do like these commercials. I was like, that makes sense because nobody knows that. But it's obvious. You pump it, they pump it up, they dump it. And me as a short seller, I'm exposing it, or like I discovered that it's fake, so I deserve to profit from it. Because like if I found a fraud and I'm helping it to go down by short selling it, I deserve that money because that was a fraud, So it drove, and then also,
so like you connected a meaning to the short selling thing.
Yeah, like, it helped drive me, because a lot of times they say traders have no purpose in the markets or whatever. So this gave me a purpose, and like I really I felt like the Batman. I felt like Batman, like when I was studying, I rented an office and I would spend like 20 hours a day in there doing all types of, and I wasn't making any money. So like when you're not making any money, like you have to have a reason to push forward, like it could be whatever it is. But for me, it was that like Batman kind of persona. I was like, I'm discovering, even though I wasn't affecting the stock at all. Like I was just studying, but I was onto something, and I decided then I'm only gonna short. And the people I used to see online trading that did well shorting, they would long too sometimes, and I was like, why are they even doing longs? They're so good at shorting. Just stick to shorting. And I was like, I'm just gonna stick to shorting. I'm not gonna mess with the longs. I'm just gonna master this because trading is overwhelming. You have like all these patterns and all this and long, short, everything. I was like, I'm just gonna simplify it. I'm just gonna be shorting, and that's one of the best decisions because, well, shorting, I realized right away it's a high odds strategy. So it's just that the odds are in your favor. Once you know the stock is a fraud, you know how it's gonna end. So all the stocks that I trade, I know how they're gonna end. Maybe it's not today, but like within a couple years, they're gonna all go to zero. They're all maybe like 5 years, all gonna go to zero. A lot of the stocks that I short in a year, they're gone. 2 years, they're gone. They just get delisted, they're gone. So so I understood that, and then I decided to master it. And when I decided, what I didn't know was that like I knew when you put because I was studying like other successful entrepreneurs, they always say put your 10,000 hours to master something like that. So I was like, if I put 10,000,
that says
I think James Clear,
10,000 hours on anything to become a master.
Yeah, so I did that for 10,000, and then I went to 20,000, and like I became like I I mastered the craft, you know, where I can write a 256-page book on it. I could lecture about it. I've given university lectures, and I don't even need to prepare. I kind of prepare a little bit, but like I can just go and I've done some talks for like 6 hours long without using the bathroom, just on shorts. Like fundamentals, technicals, research. It's like it never ends. That's how you know you master stuff. So like I'm glad that I stuck to one, because if I would have done, for example, if I would have done options or listened to me, hey, try this option, try this line. If I would have done some options for 6 months, Forex for 6 months, futures for 6 months, crypto for, I would have not been where I'm at, you know? So it just stuck to one, and they're all real.
Yeah, you try a little bit in the market and you're not successful and you think it's not for you, but you don't stick enough. Right?
Yeah.
You're gonna be there for more than, I don't know, a year, even more, you know?
Yeah.
And like during your studying, like how did you study in terms of like sharding? Did you like pretty much come back in time and see sharding of all the stocks? Like how was it? Because what I'm saying is like in Black Arrow we have a feature for replay, so you can come back in time and trade the day, like for example ELAB. That happened like yesterday. Like you could be able to come back in time and simulate live trading with the market depth, everything as you were trading the same day. So like, is there any? I don't see any features like that over any other platform. So I think that would help a lot.
That would help. I know when I was beginning, I wanted to see replay, but I remember I had a friend that we do like a Zoom call, and he would do the replay, and I didn't know how to do it. So I guess I couldn't do it. But I would screenshot all my charts and then review all the charts. It's kind of like a slower way to do it. Yeah. So like this, you know, athletes, they review film, so traders should review film as well. It's actually more beneficial to the trader to review film because it's all graphics, it's all the designs, like we call patterns, like clear patterns.
Yeah, for us when we see this, we know exactly what's
we know exactly. So like athletes, they gotta look at people moving and get the patterns from the people moving, but we have, like the charts are pure patterns. They're designed to see the patterns. So it's a no-brainer for people to use. Like that's a huge advantage. Because like if you see it in real time, you replay it, you gotta see the level 2, and you gotta see and coordinate that with the pattern. Yeah, it's really useful.
Yeah, for those who are still trying to catch up while we are talking here, like when you trade stocks, especially small caps, they are not like a symbol that they are going through an uptrend that it's pretty much because the company is going well. It's the opposite. The company is bad. They're a small cap, usually 95% because they are in a bad situation financially speaking. Like it might be 5% of them that pretty much it's like biotechs or something like this. Sometimes it's like they discovered something new and they are like a shitty company, and now they have really value because they discovered something and it's a real company now, right? But usually it's some company that it's bad and they are trying to survive. So what do? It's pretty much they pump and dump, as David said. They create a momentum, some fake news for the stock, or I don't know, manipulation. And this movement, it's 100% a pattern. It's always the same. Like what you're seeing in the screen, every single stock does almost the same. A move very exponentially up, and it goes down. And sometimes comes back, and you see a test, and when you see after that test it came down, it's probably going to come back to 1 if you're seeing the screen. So pretty much that's the pattern. And going through strategy, like how was your strategy back then? That's where we met. Probably we were trading pre-market a lot, and I know that a lot of it changed along the way in terms of risk management, for example. That's a big topic, right? I remember you gave me one, not lesson, but hint that kind of saved my career one day, because I didn't have a stop loss. The way we traded, like now it's completely different the way I trade, but we kind of traded similar without a stop loss sometimes, and that hit it hard, right? But there was a moment that David decided to add a stop loss.
That was 2023, right?
Yeah, because the thing is that the way we trade, like answering your question, why are you a short seller? Because I'm not on the right side of the trade. If it's a shady company, we are on the right side if it's going up, because it's gonna come down. But the problem is, where do you enter? Because it could go 200, 500% in your face.
So the problem with the stop loss is that if you enter too early, the stop loss is like a kind of a problem for you.
Short selling, there is unlimited risk, if you think about it, because you're seeing a stock right there who went from 1 to 8. If you're short at 2, you're 400% down. The thing is, where do you stop if it goes wrong? So for us, it was a matter of a financial number. Like we're right.
Financial stop.
It's financial stop.
But you didn't have on the screen, like you were waiting for with your fingers on the mouse, like whenever it's this price, I'm gonna click and that's it.
Exactly. And
that's
actually dangerous.
It's a dollar amount that you have in mind. So like if you want to lose $1,000, then you have to risk $1,000, $2,000, whatever it is. I have the rule, it should be something you can recover in 2 or 3 days. So I think Lucas, do you want me to say that? I think I know which one you're talking about.
I have a lot of examples.
Yeah. I think you had come to Los Angeles, and I mentioned it there in a conference, and it was TPET? No.
Yes, TPST.
TPST. Yeah, so it was a biotech that did some weird move, and it went like 10,000% or something like that.
It went from 50 cents to $12.
That's crazy. So at that event that I held, I do these conferences and stuff. I've started to do a lot of them now. But at that event, I was emphasizing on this is the stop loss. Pick a number and that's the number. Now I like the number stop loss because like most people, they have, if they use like, okay, I'm gonna pick high of day as a stop loss. You know how many people pick high of day as a stop loss? A lot of people.
It's obvious. Yeah. All the others are there.
And then when it goes there,
it comes back to
it comes back, or
that's why I don't use it.
No, actually, it goes higher. Usually, a lot in small caps, in short selling, small caps. A lot of times when people have their stop losses there,
because they're buying to exit, so they make it go higher.
Yeah, it goes higher. So you want to be creative with your stop loss, which is dollar amount, because it could be wherever. It's just a dollar amount. So, but yeah, it should be these days, whatever you can recover in 2 or 3 days, I think it's safe.
So you're going for always the stop loss in terms of financial, and not like the high goes of the day or the previous day, whatever.
It makes me cringe. I know one podcast, for example. They said the person in the interview, like me, was saying everybody has to stop out higher bid. Everybody has to stop. Like, come on, man. If everybody stops out at the same time,
the market goes crazy. But the thing is, like, it's not. It's nowadays the way I trade. I definitely have stop loss that it's when I enter, I know exactly what I'm gonna be. Like that's the big change for the last 2 years for me. And one thing, like in Black Arrow, that like working closely to the team that we developed here, that I know that you're gonna know it's nice. It's like a stop loss on pre-market and after hours. Because the thing is, it's impossible in any other platform to have a pre-market stop order because the rules of the exchange, right? But we on our side we have the OCO orders and the stop orders managed on our side, on the server side, which means that we control this on our side. It's not on the exchange. So we definitely can offer this feature that most of the platforms they don't, and it's amazing. Like it would save, especially those non orders.
So we used to trade pre-market a lot,
and there was no.
So if you think about it, we escaped alive.
We survived without it.
We went 3 years fighting with the fire.
There was a stock called T-non that pretty much went.
Yeah, that went like 2,000% or something.
It went from $2 to 250, man. It was 10,000.
Okay, it was more 10,000.
It was insane.
And it did it quick.
It died.
So without a stop loss in the pre-market, there's some people that manipulate. Unfortunately, whoever's listening to this, you got to come to an understanding that the market is very manipulated, especially with trade stocks. So somebody sees they don't see it, but they know people are stuck and they hunt them down. So without the stop, and they know there's no stop loss, there's no market exchange, there's no halts, there's no stops. So if they press the gas, these manipulators, they can get some really nasty moves, 10,000%, something outlier, because there's no stop. So that's great to hear. You guys gotta stop.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that, like, especially with the volatility of the markets, like it's amazing. You can pretty much, like, if I trade, I usually trade after hours. Like I couldn't leave the screen, especially pre-market. Pre-market is even worse. But now, like in a platform that you could do this, it changed the game, and have you ever had any experience with platforms in terms of getting in a position and couldn't exit, and had problems?
Let's see.
Sometimes it happens more about the broker.
It's happened like twice in my career. Okay. And yeah, like the orders, which I couldn't cancel it. I remember this was I have the orders there and I want to cancel it and it's stuck. Yeah, that's really great. And I was freaking out because those orders hadn't been executed. And so it's sitting there and I don't want to trade the stock anymore. I want to take them out. And that was one. Yeah, I haven't really had any horror story, It's kind of like frustrating.
Just squeezes.
Yeah, the squeeze, like I got myself in the squeeze, you know what I mean?
It's your fault.
It's my fault.
And what was your most memorable trade, like the best trade that you remember? Like,
let's see, the best trade. FFIE was a good one a couple years ago. That was good, but I've done better on SIDU this year. So SIDU, since October, and we published a short report on it with guys at research. And just been hammering it ever since. I think right now today it's up a lot.
Can you add SIDU?
I think it's up a lot because it's space.
Why? Yeah,
the first one. Yeah. What's it at now?
It's running today, 40%.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Because the SpaceX IPO.
Go to
but like that, yeah, beautiful. So you see how bad of a company this is? Yeah. Look at that. That's what we like. Yes. We like trash. We dig in the trash.
And that move in 2022.
Yeah. So you see, it does this over and over. It does like they do something that's called a reverse split, and then where they get the supply, it's they take a big supply and they turn it into a small supply, but it's still the same supply. It's like a reverse. It's like splitting the pizza up in different slices. So the same pizza, just bigger slices, as opposed to a lot of slices, but it's still the same pizza. Anyway,
they did that to try not to fall more.
No, I mean it's to manipulate the stock and they sell the stock, right? You see a stock going like this that's why it goes to this price, because there was a lot of reverse splits, which is the company reduces the amount of shares and increase the price.
Yeah.
Right. So it went from that, like go from the bottom to the top to see how much it went up. 600%.
So this is like a really good example of how I trade. So now as I'm growing as a trader, I got more capital and I need to focus the capital into the right stuff, because SIDU, the float is like 60-70 million, which is a lot for what we trade. Usually like Lucas, like yesterday ELAB you trade, it's like 1 million float. This one's 60-70 million. So it's heavy, it's big and heavy. And if you look at the history, it's just straight down. Beautiful. So these stocks, it's like someone that came out of jail you know, they have like no one's gonna. In the U.S., they call him a felon. I don't know how they do it here. He's a felon. Okay. So someone's a felon usually for like 7 to 10 years, and then he becomes like a normal person if he does everything right. Because usually those felons, they're gonna go back to jail. They do something stupid and they go back to jail. But unless they like something happens where they go to church and become like enlightened, and then now he's like after 7 years, everybody trusts him now. He's like, oh, he's a nice guy. But it takes like 7 to 10 years for that guy to like, you know, recreate himself. Like no one's gonna trust that guy like 3 years out of jail. You know what I mean? Yeah. So this one, like, it has a reputation for how long now? Like 10 years or something like that? 10 years has been going nothing but down. Yeah. But like people, but they come out with news and say, hey, this stuff is awesome, we're going to outer space. So when I see that news and Lucas sees that news, like, yeah, okay, whatever, this is garbage. Yeah. Because like it has a history of garbage.
Go,
you know?
Go to the actual days, like where we are now.
Yeah, go to like
this is this is from December to now. Like,
so I shorted a bunch. So you know, I shorted it multiple times, and then what I do is I cover, which is I exit my position when the stock drops a lot, and then a stock like this, it bounces hard.
Yeah, sure.
And then with my rules, I'll re-short it like 40-50% up, and then when it drops, I'll cover. And then it did that over and over again. So instead of me getting squeezed, because if I hold it, I'm gonna get squeezed. You see that move is gonna keep going up. But if I cover consistently, it's actually good. It's like I'm surfing the wave. It's like I'm surfing.
That's the technical side, right? Because the fundamentals is it's always going to come down.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when do I have to short in order to take the bigger part of the movement? Like, for example, like Black Arrow have the anchor VWAP, which you were saying just before.
Yeah,
I think that helps you, right?
So anchor VWAP is like, you know, 5%. And then like my entry criteria that I have, intraday is 40%, and then sometimes over multiple days is over 100%. So I'll figure out what time, you know, what percentage I'm gonna go by. And then because when that move started, when you see that move, when it started, the float was like 20 million. So they needed money. So it was a game. They were playing a game with the short sellers. They're like, everybody knows they need money. So all the short sellers, short, is like, oh, they're gonna raise money and it's gonna dump. But they waited, and then so many short sellers got in that the stock squeezed, and then they did an offer. They raised money after. And what happens when they raise money? That the stock dumps. So I was there for every single dump. This is a unique situation. It's never like this. Like, so when Lucas asked me about the best trade, whatever, I consider this one. I traded for like 2 months. I've never had an experience where I just was like, it was like consistent. I was nailing every drop. And then we did a report, and the report put the hammer, you know, like hit like a sledgehammer on the
like
stock.
the Batman.
Yeah, so it was a good one. You know?
Yeah, that's the beauty of what we trade. It's amazing.
So yeah, and I like this one too. It's not too often where the float is so big, you know what I mean? Yeah, so it was a good one.
David, what do you think it separates traders from eventually making it from those who give up?
Okay, so for me, it was a decision, and I think this is a commonality I see with like a lot of successful traders. They're not giving themselves an option to quit, and they're gonna, you know, there's no plan B. For me, there was no plan B. My architecture portfolio, I deleted it. Like when I was studying, I was like, I'm not going back. When it got really hard, it was a trading thing that gets hard, and like you can't sleep, and like it's just like, oh man, you're losing constantly, and like you're stressed out, you're going nowhere. So when I was in that situation, and I spoke with my dad, and he's like, hey Dave, just come back to Miami, you know, you can live with me. And I was like, oh my God, no, like I'm here, I'm 30-something years old, I'm not gonna go back to Miami and live with my dad. Like, that was nice and kind of him to say that, and he just wants the best for me, but for me, that's like, I'm a failure now. So I was like, so then at that moment, I got my architecture portfolio and I clicked delete. I was like, I'm not going back, I'm gonna see this through. And I know it's so I decided when I learned trading, when I was learning in the beginning, like this is a real thing, it's a real skill, and that means I gotta like treat it serious. So if it's fake, then I could. So see, if I didn't have that decision early on, like I said, I'm gonna try trading, and then I find out that like what I'm studying is kind of scammy, and I was like, I wasted my time, let me quit. But I did my due diligence in the beginning. I was like, this is real, and I can really learn it, and I can make potentially at least 6 figures of money and $1 million. Like it's possible if I do it right. It's not as possible when it's like luck or the lottery. It's like it's possible if I really put it to work. So then I already made that decision early. So there's like when it comes to the point of like you want to quit or like the thoughts come, because everybody has those thoughts. Then what's gonna keep going? You know? Yesterday Lucas and I were talking about a friend that he doesn't trade with. And he's doing well in other things, but he was already successful in other things outside of trading. So if he was successful, really successful, I'm talking about a millionaire. He was a millionaire with other things, and he tried trading, and his risk management was off, and he was sweating. He couldn't take the squeezes. He's like, why am I putting myself through this? I'm already rich. Like I'll just do something else. So like he doesn't have like. So for us, it's kind of like boxers. They're really good when they're like poor in the beginning, like Rocky. The movie Rocky, he's like. But then when he gets rich, he's a different, like he's not the champion anymore. He gets too comfortable. So if we're trading with small caps and to be traded, you gotta have like Rocky. Like you gotta grind. So like for me, I had no choice. What else am I gonna do? I deleted my portfolio. I have no choice. So like, but that's what retail traders that like, a lot of them quit because it just gets too hard. So like, what's gonna get you to go when it gets too hard, like to continue? Because Lucas and I've been through a lot of hard stuff, man. It's like, how do you continue? In fact, I wanna know, Lucas, how do you continue? Like when you get so hard, how do you continue?
I think it gets a part of our identity as well. So you don't want to quit. You want to I feel that I'm a trader. Besides what I do here with Black Arrow, I'm still a trader. I trade every single day. I'm usually trading right now. So it's pretty much like the moment that you understand that it's a part of you, and you gotta keep grinding. And you have the dream, even the financial dream, And you gotta learn from your mistakes in the same way, because it's an ongoing process, and the resilience, that's probably the word that you're looking for. And like, you gotta learn from your mistakes. What was the biggest mistake you made early on, that, like, if you could go back in time and read?
Yeah, that's a good one. In trading or just in everything?
Early on your trading career, let's say.
You know, I don't regret anything, man. You know, so that's a good question, because everything has led me to where I'm at today. You know, the mistakes, everything is this path of life to where you went. This is where I'm at. So even the losses, I don't regret the losses, the big losses, the crazy ones. I don't regret it. You know, the price of the losses is not worth that much. Like $150,000 loss, $100,000. It's not worth the lesson, but it's part of the journey. It's like, if I can survive that, I can survive anything. It's like the brain operation I had. Do I regret that? Hey, that's my life. It just happened. I have no control, but I survived it, and now like everything else is easy compared to that. But you know, what if I didn't survive it? You know, so people shouldn't, you know, like, if they go through that, they might not survive, so it's not worth it. But if it happens to you, like when life just happens, I don't think, I don't regret anything at all. I don't regret the debt I was in. I don't regret the bad trades that I made. I don't regret, because like, I'm still here, and I'm, you know, like, they made me stronger, you know, and I don't have big losses like that anymore. You know, it's crazy. 3 years ago, I was going through a roller coaster, 100,000 loss here, 50,000 loss there.
I was very close to your trading days back then, and I know if I would guess, it's the milestone of 1 million, right?
That's part of it. Yeah, that's absolutely.
How much are you now? Like 2
point something. So like now, you know, so this is something I haven't spoken about before. So before, I was so meticulous with my trading journal, with these online journaling tracking software, and like, I got to see it once a week. I got to see it a few times a week, and I got to journal every trade. And like, this is part of a trader's journey to grow as a trader. Like, you got to do that. But then it got to the point where I have the skill now. I know what I'm doing. I'm disciplined. I have it by second nature, like this. So by me watching my profits every day, it's a psychological effect of like, you know, I'm trading to see my equity curve go higher. I'm trading to, you know, that guy made 2 million, I gotta make more than him. You know, every day, that guy made 1,000 yesterday, I need to make 2,000. That guy made 10,000. It's like, you're chasing all this stuff. So what I've done since about a year and a half ago, and it's worked so well, but this is not for beginners. Because beginners need a journal as much as possible. I tell my students to make a daily report card, journal on top of that, and do a video review and share it with their friends, like a pod of people, and share it with each other, and talk to each other about trading. Like, you got to do that. But for me, after a certain point, those milestones really mess with you. And when you see other people hitting milestones, they mess with you too. And it's like the comparison game. It's like what I mentioned earlier with architects. Like, some guy's a BMW, now you want a BMW. Like, what are you doing this for? So with trading, is like, I stop looking at that every so often. What I do is, I know I'm trading well. When I'm trading well, I look at the daily P&L. I had one day, I'll say it here, but like one day last week I made 35,000. The other day I made 10,000, 2,000, 3,000. Like, in the past, I would look at it every day, and it'll be like a constant thing in my head. Now I look at it, I don't even remember the day I made 35,000. Maybe it was Thursday or Friday. But like, I try to forget about it. I just know I executed well, and like, I just look at the next day, and like, I'm hyper focused and present at the moment. You know. So when you're present, see, but like, if you got those miles, $1 million, oh my God, or this month I gotta make 100,000, this month 50,000, 30, it messes with you. Yeah, it does, and that's how I used to have those roller coaster stories. I make 150,000 one month, 100, and I lose 100,000. And then I make 70,000, and I lose 40,000. And it's like this a roller coaster, because I'm like, oh, I need to have all my money in my trading account because I got to compete against those guys. And so like, it's crazy. Like, you perform your best when you just focus in the present and like executing what's in front of you.
It's also like an ego thing to see like the balance is way higher. The win rate is so good. Like, you know, you want to see the numbers look beautiful so you can share it. You can speak about it. Like, I have 95% win rate. So I've got 2-point-something million in revenue this year, you know. Like,
that's exactly it. I saw a video of Kobe Bryant. He said like, he doesn't worry about winning, because if you try to win, you're gonna try to force something that's not there, and you know, you try to be in the middle. You don't want to focus on winning, you don't want to focus on losing. You want to be right in the middle, just making the best decisions. For him, it's the best shot all the time. Like, whatever you can do for that moment to make the best shot you can. So for me, at this point in my career, I'm hyper focused on executing the one good trade at a time, just one. And then I trade and I do well today, and then like tomorrow, I forgot about what I did yesterday. I come in with the moment to do another one good trade. Just like worry about one day at a time. I'm not worried about beating other people. I don't look at any leaderboards. I don't look at any, like, God bless everyone. I want them all to make money. I know Lucas is killing it, but I don't ask Lucas, how much did you make today? How much did you make yesterday? How much did you make? And now I'm in competition with him. No, it's like, I want Lucas to go crazy, be a billionaire with trading, but like, I can't. Like,
you gotta remove the noise.
Yeah.
And focus on your path, because each path is different. You know, like, and everyone has a different environment in life, traumas, problems.
I think that's exactly it. Yeah. Just removing as much noise as possible so you can be focused on like what's to make it. Because trading is a high performance thing, you know, and you need to execute so well, or else you're putting yourself in danger as a short seller. So you have to be like, I like to describe it like flying a fighter jet pilot, like a Tom Cruise, you know, like that Top Gun. So like it's like they're going super fast and they need to really focus. And before they go on the plane, they do their rehearsal. So I'm doing that constantly all the time. Like when I'm taking the flight here or when I'm going for a walk, I'm constantly thinking of how I'm going to execute trades, and like it relaxes me, and I think about like what I'm looking for, like what I discussed earlier about Saidu, or what I discussed when Lucas asked me how do I see the charts as an architect. So I'm thinking about that all the time, and that's my own thoughts. I'm not having any outside noise, and that gets me in like a state of flow. I spoke to Tom Hogart. Tom Hogart, he came to Buenos Aires last week. We did an event, and I had a translator for him. You know, so like half the crowd is like Spanish, and Tom's like, I need to get in flow. I can't go back and forth. I need to be in flow. And if you've seen Tom Hogart before, like he's a performer. He goes there and he's like, he's in flow. He's in flow. So that's how it should be with trading. You got to be in flow. So how do you do that? Reduce the noise.
Tell me about the Friendly Bear University.
Like, I love the name, by the way. That's perfect, because bearish trends tend to be something scary, like bear market. Oh my God, everybody's gonna die. So Friendly Bear is a good name.
I'm glad. So he got it. Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. Because like when I started the podcast, Friendly Bear Podcast. At first, I wanted to call it like Bear Trader Podcast or something, or Bear, but like, you know, I saw on YouTube all these things going viral, bear market crash, or, you know, market
something
crash.
Red, like something falling. Yeah.
And then also short sellers are considered evil. A lot of like ignorant people, they don't know. I mean, they don't know. They assume that short sellers are out to get them. So I was like, I want to invite people to my podcast. So I got to put like Friendly Bear, because bears, you know, they have stuffed animals or like cuddly and stuff. I was like, okay, let me put Friendly Bear. And then that actually worked, because like when you want to invite someone to come, it's like inviting. And then the university, after a while, a few years of doing the podcast, I started to improve as a trader a lot. You know, 6-figure plus trader, and then closing in on $1 million at the time. And then people would ask me if I had like education, and I didn't want to do it. And I had a friend that encouraged me to do it. And we started education, and it would only be for a couple times a month. But like, it was more like a side thing for like advanced traders. And then as I grew as a trader, more people reached out to learn. And I was like, so I really love talking about trading. I could talk trading all day long, forever. So I was like, maybe if I organize this into a format and I give the people, because a couple times a month is not enough. I need to do like webinars constantly. I need to like do videos constantly, because like to give the trade. And so I designed it like if I were to go back in time to 2015 and give it to myself, you know, because I was kind of all over the place when I started.
So you were the mentor that you wish you had when you started.
Yeah. A more refined mentor. I had good mentors. I had many mentors, but like it's like Black Arrow. It's like instead of having charts, execution, Discord, this, it's all just going once, and then it's easier. You have a straight path to success. So for me, I designed it like that. It's like I have mentorship, which is like webinar, masterclass, videos, and also they come to my office, conferences. It's all together, so people really learn like university. So.
And then we got, I think we should talk about this. We got your book.
Yeah, Short Selling Master, man.
And what's about
that's gonna be, you know, Harriman House, the publisher. They told me, you know, this is like a potential life-changing thing. It's like you don't know yet. Like, when it comes out, you're gonna have like people reach out to you. This is a big deal, and I'm already starting to get like this kind of stuff. So yeah, it took me 2 years to write the book. When I decided to write a book, it was like I'm just starting. Like, how do you start? You know, it's like just write the book, and then as it's just like trading, you know, just learn a little bit at a time. At the end, you have all this knowledge. So with the book, I started with 1 page, 1 chapter, and then it just kind of just went along. And then like when I got in the hands of Harriman, they told me to modify it. So they have like they have a lot of experience with books to get them to be bestsellers. So I organized it in a way so it's like a best chance to be a bestseller. It's already sold a lot of copies, but yeah, it took me 2 years to write that thing, and I didn't want to just self-publish it. When I finished writing my version of it, it's still my version, but like it was purely just me writing randomly about trading. I was like, this is really good. I want this to have a real shot to like be a big success. And because you could just publish on Amazon like that, like tomorrow. So and then I went and searched for a publisher, and I got accepted to the top one, and they put me in contact with all these famous people, and it's one of the highlights of my life for sure. Like trading is a highlight, but it's crazy where the journey takes you. You know, so like this is a legit book, you know, so like I'm already invited to speak at a couple universities and stuff. So like yeah, I'm very proud of it, man. I plan on turning the chapter 5, which is at Columbia, into a movie script, and I'm gonna shop it around in Hollywood, see how it goes. I don't know what to expect.
Yeah,
you know?
David also had the China Hustle too, right?
That one. That one's still under the works. That one's you know, Hollywood documentaries, movies, they take a while to do. You know, it's like different. The book takes a while, but the movie stuff takes a while too.
And the publisher is the same as the Market Wizards and Tom Hogart books.
Yeah, exactly. And also the Psychology of Money. You heard of this one?
Yes.
Yeah. That was a really good one. Yeah, I've heard that one's a great one. Yeah. So I'm in good company, let's say.
Okay, so I think we go for the question about the advice. So a lot of people here watching this one might be starting just like we were in one day of our lives. What would be one advice that you would give for someone who might be a little lost in the beginning because they don't know whether they're going to be a short seller, they're going to be a futures trader or whatever? And like, what would you say for yourself 10 years ago? If you could give yourself
very good. Yes. So the first thing is you need to find your identity as a trader It's like the vegetarian, they know they're a vegetarian. That's their identity. So a trader, you gotta know who you are. And that's hard to discover on your own. So, but you need to know that. You need to know, are you a long trader, short trader? Are you an options trader, stock trader? I think beginners should start with stocks or futures. You know, I think if you look at the market wizards, so the beginner should all read market wizards. First thing, you got to know what, you got to align yourself with the successful people. So you need to find verified traders to follow. This is the hardest part. Now, Lucas and I are both verified, but how do you find traders like us? We know them. We know them. There's probably like 50 to 100 of them. But like, you need to find them and see which one you resonate with. And then you got maybe they have some kind of small mentorship, or you can have access. So maybe you DM them. I don't know. I DM'd when I was starting out, and then you ask them, and then they can tell you. But either way, you have to listen to the mentor. Like the people that I mentor, there's no discussion. I know it sounds mean, but I'm like, you just listen to the mentor. It's not a debate. Like, I'm not here to debate you. Like, you listen to me. Like, you're starting out, you're a newbie, and you know. So like, so with trading, you always listen to the people that are successful. It's just like with trading, the beauty that we have is that the monetary is like the points. It's like that's the point system of we determine the success. So, but yeah, find a mentor, somehow get in contact with a proven trader.